Hi, I'm Dr. T, and I'm a pediatrician. On Ask Dr. T, I answer health questions from teens. Questions ranging from safe sex, to self-love, to questions about body parts. Let's get this episode started. These questions are all about periods and pregnancy, so sort of where the two meet. See what I mean in a minute. Question number 1. Normally my period cycle is around 30 to 35 days, lasting about 5 days, but this time I have a brownish black blood coming from my vagina during the time I was expecting my period. The brownish black blood, it's a tongue twister, the brownish black blood lasted the full 5 days. Also, I took a pregnancy test 29 days after I had sex and it came out negative. What could my condition be? Should I go see a doctor? So part of this question was asking if this different type of blood is pregnancy or a sign of pregnancy. And it's not. In this case, it sounds like this is still your period, but blood turns brown or black in color when it is oxidized. And that just means that it's come in contact with oxygen. So generally speaking, there are a variety of appearances to blood during the period timeline, but for the most part, period blood will probably be either bright red, meaning that you are actively bleeding from an open vessel in your uterus, or brownish black in color, meaning some of that blood has been sitting up there for a little while and allowed to come in contact with oxygen. And so that's really about it, though. It's still blood and it's still your period, but it looks a little bit darker because it's been hanging around just a little bit longer, and that's okay. So I would say for you, this could be completely normal and just a different type of period blood than you're used to. However, if it is accompanied by any other vaginal symptoms like itching or pain, then it might be worth talking to a doctor. But generally speaking, it's okay to have brownish, blackish period blood. Question number 2. I had protected sex 8 days ago, before my period started. I had my normal period, but now it's been more than 2 months and I haven't gotten my period since. I took 2 pregnancy tests that were both negative. Could I still be pregnant? No. So if you had sexual intercourse and then had your period 8 days later, that means that you are not pregnant. So there is no way for a fertilized egg to attach to the inside of your uterus and then for the uterus to flush out the lining of itself. That wouldn't happen. So 1, you already had your period. 2, you took pregnancy tests and it's normal. So I would suspect that what is happening is a variety of other things that can interfere with your period schedule, like stress or exercise changes or illness or something like that. And it might be worth talking to a doctor if you're going on a few months without a period, but don't worry, you're not pregnant. Question number 3. If I were to unfortunately fall pregnant while on the combination pill, would I still get my period or withdrawal bleeding? No, you shouldn't. So withdrawal bleeding, or that fake period on the placebo week, is your uterine lining being flushed out. And if you have your normal withdrawal bleeding or your normal period after intercourse, you are not pregnant. That said, it is possible to have a little bit of spotting or implantation bleeding if you were to become pregnant, but it would not look like the normal bleeding that happens during the withdrawal week or your placebo week, and it wouldn't be as predictable as that withdrawal bleeding. It would probably be random. So don't worry if you have your normal typical withdrawal bleeding or fake period during the placebo week. You are not pregnant. Question number 4. Is it true that stress may cause pink discharge? No, to directly answer your question. So stress itself will not cause you to have pink discharge, vaginal discharge. What stress may do is throw off your hormones or your natural cycle a little bit and cause you to have irregular bleeding patterns. So change up your period schedule. The other thing that is more likely if you are just having pink discharge, it might be infection. So if you're having itching or any pain or irritation down there, you probably want to see a doctor. And the other thing is it is possible to have sort of random spotting, and that could be related to ovulation, or it could be your hormone cycle being a little messed up. Could be because of stress. So I would say pink discharge in and of itself is not a direct result of stress, but stress can certainly interfere with your hormone signaling and your natural period cycle. Question number 5. Why do I spot brown every mid-cycle for 1 day? My calendar says it's a day after my ovulation. So this is what I was talking about. This is ovulation spotting. And some people do have a little bit of spotting around the time of ovulation. And if this is you and it predictably happens most of the time mid-cycle for you, that is very likely what it is. If it's accompanied by other concerning things like vaginal itching or pain, it might be worth talking to a doctor, but otherwise this sounds like ovulation spotting, which some people get. Shouldn't be like your normal period, but just a little bloody discharge around the time of your ovulation, so mid-cycle, but totally normal. Question number 6, is it normal for your period to be late after stopping birth control? It can be normal. So it depends on what type of birth control you were on and where you were in that cycle when you stopped. Generally speaking, for most forms of birth control, your period should return back to normal after a month or 2. Depo is notorious for causing more prolonged changes in your period pattern and can take a little bit longer for things to re-regulate themselves, but usually with pills or patch, ring, IUD, Nexplanon, things should return to normal in a month or 2. So if you're going on 3 months and things are still not happening yet, talk to your doctor and they can give you just a short little burst of some hormones that will get your period going and sort of reset your clock. That'll do it for period and pregnancy questions. And remember, if you have a question for Ask Dr. T, you can either respond in this video or submit through my website, askdrt.net.